Man, I feel like it's been a good minute. It's been a long time since we were here in this room, but it actually hasn't been that long. It just feels like it.
It does feel like that, even though we were just here a few days ago for the Homie Awards.
Yes, the Homie Awards for 2024, also known colloquially as the Deadpool and Wolverine Awards. But check out that episode. There were so many good clips from that episode.
Oh, yeah.
Just some bangers. If you haven't seen if you're not going to watch the whole thing and you just want to pick through it, the Vincent D'Onofrio clip that you clipped out is a banger. It's incredible. However, I brought a little show and tell with me today.
You know I love show and tell.
And I love to play show and tell. I just don't always have that much shit, and if I do, it's usually like some Cosmere stuff I'm not prepared to leave my house with. However, I have right here, this is a first appearance of Nightwing, 1984. This is part of the Judas Contract, yes. Teen Titans run. It's a first print. It is fantastic. This was actually a gift from the homie JJ. If you're in the Augusta, Georgia area, go and check them out at Dead Media Collectibles. Not a sponsor, but friend of the show. And they have a ton of stuff like this in there. But they got this in, and something that you guys might not know, because it doesn't come up a lot, is Dick Grayson is my favorite comic book character. I mean, I know you knew that.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that a whole lot on the podcast.
Yeah, because he never comes up because, usually when we talk about him, it's in the context of like Batman and Robin.
That's true.
But I was thinking about it on the way over here, and I think really Dick Grayson as a character is in such a unique position when it comes to comic book characters, because he's one of the few like sidekicks that, well, you don't even have to put quotes around that. He originally was a sidekick.
Yeah.
That has ever, I think, fully stepped out of the shadow of their mentor,
Yeah.
Miles is probably the closest for that.
If he's the second closest, it's a distant gap.
Yeah.
Between the two.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that Miles, that his superhero name is also the same superhero name.
Yeah.
His.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, you're never going to hear Robin, Dick Grayson, Nightwing. You're never going to hear any of those things and not immediately think about Batman.
Right.
But his relationship to Bruce is part of his character, not necessarily that he's in Bruce's shadow. He can stand on his own.
Yes.
And he's gone through so many iterations, being Robin, being Nightwing, being the leader of the Teen Titans in general, being Nightwing, being Detective Dick Grayson, and then even a run as Batman.
Yeah, his run as Batman. So. His run as the super spy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's Dick Grayson. I think that he's reached the point now where like he's such a well-developed character who has so much lore all on his own now that, I mean, when they do this, whenever it comes out, this Batman Brave and Bold, the Robin in that movie is going to be Damian, but I guarantee you Dick Grayson's going to be in it as Nightwing.
He's gotta.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things now where, like, we don't need to start with Robin number 1 and then go to number 2 and so forth and so on. I think to a lesser degree, Jason Todd has kind of done something similar, with the Red Hood moniker. Like,
yes.
I think that story just did so many wonders for him that, ever since then, you can look at Jason Todd now and not think that, you're always going to think, yeah, he's the one that got beat to death by Joker and then exploded. But, you're also going to think, yeah, he is the Red Hood. He's not just Robin number 2. And so, you look at Dick Grayson, and, yeah, he's got his own legacy, man. And it's to the point where you have to remember this. Comic book fans typically hate change of any kind, of any variety. Case in point, when Barry Allen died and Wally took his place, Wally was set for years to be the next Flash.
Right.
Fans were upset. And which is funny because you know, it's a white guy that took another white guy's spot. Fans are still angry. That's not the point. The point is we like Barry Allen and y'all killed him. And, but Wally filled those shoes perfectly. I guess the point I'm getting at though is that when Batman died during Final Crisis, and Dick Grayson comes in and takes that spot, no one was really upset. You don't really see a lot of fan backlash about it. Everyone just kind of thought, yeah, this makes sense. Let's see what Dick can do with this role. And holy shit, he has to babysit Damian. It's going to be phenomenal. So, I just think it speaks to the power of Dick Grayson. The power of Dick.
The power of Dick.
Yeah.
I will say, too, that, on the other side of the fence there, Marvel, on the big screen, there's a very similar situation going on right now where, the object, right, is to get Sam Wilson out from under Steve Rogers.
Yep.
And whether they're successful or not, all said and done, Marvel will have spent about $750 million to do that. Ooh. If you count the production budget for the show and the this upcoming movie.
Listen, we don't work for Marvel, but for their sake, go see this movie.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Also, the next time that you guys want to do this, I'll do it for less than $750 million. Yeah. Like, we'll just go an even 5. And I got you.
Right, yeah. We promise you it'll be way cheaper than whatever you spend on this.
Yeah, so, but yeah, that was my thing I just had to show off. It is a thing of beauty. I've got to figure out what to do with it. I might get a shadow box for it.
Yeah, man.
I'm definitely going to case it up. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna set it over here with the Hulk so I don't spill no drink on it.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
While we're podcasting.
Yeah, I mean, that whole run was made by Marv Wolfman and George Perez. I'm trying to think if either of them are alive. I want to say, I could be wrong. I think Marv Wolfman might still be alive. No, George Perez might. I don't know. Unfortunately, I think one of them passed away a couple years ago, and I'm not sure if the other is still alive. But they, no pun intended, they were quite the dynamic duo in DC Comics. I mean, they just put out some fucking bangers. And, I mean, I dare say, like, I think that they were really like an equivalent of, like, Chris Claremont and John Byrne on the X-Men book. Like, Marv Wolfman and George Perez did, like, a lot of really similar work over at DC. And they did some good work at Marvel, too.
Marv Wolfman is alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, which is pretty cool because... Yeah, I mean, Marv Wolfman is the creator of Nightwing.
Yeah.
So, which is as close as you're going to get to, Dick Grayson in general because, like, obviously, like, Bill Finger or Bob Kane aren't around.
Yeah, both of them.
Both of them.
But the whole Judas Contract storyline was it was, like, the first really big Teen Titan story.
Right.
And, it was incredible. It was... definitely grimy. There's some shit they did in that they probably like, yeah, we probably got to steer away from some of this today. Like the whole, Slade Wilson. Well, it's okay for him to beat up children, but when he starts sexually manipulating them, then it's kind of an issue.
Yeah, they'd probably have to cut that out of.
Yeah.
And they probably should.
Yeah. I mean, they cut it out of the Teen Titans show. What was the girl's name? She had the Earth power, the Tremor powers. Fucking
Not Quake.
Nope, not Quake. Damn, I can't believe I'm drawing a blink on her name. But they put her in the Teen Titans cartoon, and they kind of danced around the Judas Contract storyline a little bit there. And I was like, man, I wonder, like, they did have a weird relationship, her and Slade, in that TV show, but it wasn't so overt like it was in the comics.
Right.
Yeah, folks. So that was the 80s. It was a different time back then.
Right. Yeah.
Dog, speaking of a different time, terrible segue here, but in a few months it'll be time for the Daredevil TV show.
Yes, we have got to talk about the trailer.
Bro.
Listen, I'm not going to say that it's impossible based on this trailer for like this season of the season of show. This season of show, no, this season of television to be inadequate because Craven had a dope trailer. Mm-hmm. But this straight up looks like season 4 of the Netflix show. I never thought I'd see Disney breaking people's legs and shit in the trailer for Disney Plus. I think this trailer kind of like, I think they really just wanted to underscore like, this is a Matt versus Kingpin story. Mm-hmm. This is going to pick up from where season 3 of Netflix left off. It seems like there's going to be a time gap, which there needed to be. And man, and then at the end they're just like, oh, by the way, it is going to be just as violent, if not more violent than ever.
It's so fun to think, man, because if you go back to 2018, which was that 7 years ago now? Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, when Marvel Disney first like reacquired the rights to, you know, the Daredevil IP and all the Defenders, and Netflix had to cancel the show. Man, we were all devastated because, I mean, shit, a lot of those shows were really good, and Daredevil was obviously the one that was leading the charge. And so just to think that we weren't ever going to see another season of Daredevil, at least we thought that the next time we see Daredevil, it wouldn't be Charlie Cox, you know, it wouldn't be Vincent D'Onofrio, it wouldn't be that same feel, it wouldn't be the same thing. It'd be a different actor, different iteration. But here we are, 7 years later, and we're getting basically a continuation, like you said.
Yeah.
I think it's incredible. And that trailer, I mean, at this point in the game, we know better than to trust trailers. But when you see one that's really damn good, you got to give it props.
The suit looks incredible.
It does.
Like, it's like if you just imagine the new Superman suit and equate that to the old Daredevil suit, then like the Daredevil suit in this trailer is like the Henry Cavill suit, right? Like it's still good,
yeah.
But this one's crisp.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we don't have to go into this, but Henry Cavill's suit also benefited from having Henry Cavill up under it.
Random sidebar, you know that David Cornsweet, so that's his name, the new Superman?
Yeah. It's hard to forget Cornsweet.
Yeah. That part I remember. It's the David part I forgot.
What is his name? Cornsweet? John? Luke? Ezekiel?
I didn't know he was that tall. That motherfucker is 6'4".
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, but because he don't look, you know.
Right.
And I think the guy that's playing Mr. Terrific is also tall.
Oh, wow.
So, like, when you see him next to that guy, he doesn't look that crazy, but...
Yeah, tall as hell.
But he's towering over Lois in the trailer.
Yeah. He's taller than canonical Superman.
Yeah. It's crazy, too. Like, you also don't notice it because, like, other than that one shot, the main shot you see is of them floating. But if you pay attention to that shot of them floating, his feet go past her feet and his head goes above her head. Like, yeah.
Oh, shit. But no, this Daredevil trailer, it has everything in it that the Netflix fans wanted. And I think that's probably why this trailer looks the way it does. I think it's done on purpose.
Yeah.
To invoke the feelings that you had when you watched the Netflix show.
You know, I can remember when Netflix lost those Marvel shows. I was like, man, House of Cards and now this, like, Netflix is fucked if they don't come up with something. Yeah, they came up with a few things.
Yeah, they came up with one or two things, you know.
Yeah. Have you watched any Squid Game? Have you?
Not season 2.
Okay, but just season 1 though.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And I really like season 1.
So it's funny. As a matter of fact, next time I'm on here, I have another show and tell. I got some really dope Invincible art.
Oh, really?
Over the past weekend.
Oh, yeah.
At AugustaCon. And the artist, I was talking to him about it, and I was like, yeah, I'm somehow Squid Game came out. I think they had some Squid Game art, and I was like, yeah, I need to watch season 2. I'm watching back through season 1 because it's been a while, and like I watched it when it first came out. And he was like, "You watching the English dub or the Korean?" And I was like, "Dog." I was like, when I watched it the first time, I watched it in the original Korean. Mm-hmm. So this time when I watched back through it, I was like, well, I'll watch the English dub. That is like one of the worst dubs of anything I've ever seen or heard.
You know what? I also need to go back and rewatch that show, season 1. But the one thing I do remember starkly is I started off watching it with the English dub. And this is one of the situations where I had to switch to the Korean.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't take the show as seriously as I should listen to the English dub. Because it sounded like it sounded like old school bad anime dub.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it was kind of like Adam West Batman. You know?
Right. Yeah, there was a whole lot of I was like, you guys know this isn't a cartoon, right?
Yeah, that's what it seems like. It's like it should be a dub for an animated version of it. Right. You know? You lose so much of the performance of like the Korean cast for this show was tremendous.
Yeah.
And you lose so much of their performance in the dub.
Right. Yeah, I had to switch it back to the Korean. It's like there's no way I can watch this.
Yeah.
This English dub.
Number 1 is the worst. Like he's awful in the dub. Ooh. He comes off like Master Roshi in the dub. It's kind of racist, honestly.
I was just gonna say that, right? Like, why can't they just sound like people?
Yeah. Why can't he just sound like an old man like he does in the Korean? You know. Jeez.
Holy shit. There were a few interesting tidbits from the Daredevil trailer that they showed. I love the sit down between Matt and Fisk. That was really cool to see.
It's almost like Fisk is trying to convince him that he's on the straight and narrow. And you know, Matt's just like, "No, motherfucker, you're not. You're not."
I love just the shot of Wilson's hand. Like, he was trying to have this calm conversation, but it was like, I want to beat the shit out of you so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, you know he does.
Oh, yeah. And I'm trying to remember exactly what he said. He said something like, it's not quite unpleasant seeing you again.
Yeah.
Something like that. I'm like, that's the nicest thing he's ever said to him.
That's like the most underhanded compliment.
Right. So he's mayor in this, which I think is going to be really interesting to see how that transpires. In the comics, they do something that has been kind of done before, but I think it could be really effective here. And that is when Fisk is mayor in the comics, like he does. He initiates like another task force, anti-vigilante task force, basically. Yeah. And I mean, I can absolutely see him doing that here. And now it's interesting because Matt says that he has given up the vigilante life during their interaction. Probably not for long.
I'm assuming that he maybe already has said task force by this point.
Yeah.
How crazy would that be if if they like got Jessica Jones locked up or something? Like,
oh wow!
Like that's her cameo in the show. You know.
Well, you know, now that you mentioned that, it is interesting, right? Because also in the comics, when Fisk inevitably falls from grace as mayor, Luke Cage takes his spot. So I don't know.
That'll be dope.
Yeah, you know. I mean, you can never tell with actors, right? Because as we mentioned earlier, we did see Vincent D'Onofrio and Mike Coulter at DragonCon last year, and they were being very coy about when we see Luke Cage return in the MCU.
They were.
Yeah,
that'd be amazing if the very last shot of the season is like Matt goes to City Hall to visit Luke. He spins around in the mayor's chair and he's like, "You like my Biggie poster?" And he's got the Cotton Mouth the poster up behind him.
That would be phenomenal.
And then like they just end the shot right there.
We see Punisher in the trailer,
looking like he's been living in like the jungle the whole time.
I'm like, dog, where you been?
I was waiting on Disney to call me.
I didn't think they ever would.
Yeah, and then they ever would. Fuck. Yeah, Frank looked deranged, and like Frank always looks deranged.
Right.
He looked deranged for Frank.
Yeah. And Matt was like, "Can you please put down the fucking axe?"
I'm assuming that said task force, because if I know Frank Castle, he don't give a fuck about no vigilante task force. He's probably done some shit, and like he's probably on the run from the law.
That's true. That actually that tracks.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That would be my guess.
Yeah. We do get an interesting shot of a character who I don't believe has ever made a live action appearance. White Tiger.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah. He's got a very, very good arc in the Bendis run on Daredevil. And the fact that like the original concept of this show where like it was gonna be like a fucking law procedural.
Yeah.
I think that maybe they're trying to adapt that, because that is like something in the comic books that was like very well done. Basically, like this guy, he is a vigilante, obviously, and he intercepts a crime, but during the process, I'm trying to remember. I think somebody gets hurt, and but he gets captured and caught by the police, and Matt ends up being his lawyer. And the way that it transpires and plays out is fucking it's a really good story. If you guys haven't read it, definitely recommend it. Brian Michael Bendis, Daredevil run. I forget the name of the arc, but really good shit. And the way it ends is just good stuff.
I mean, according to Bendis, Peter Parker's Jewish, so
that's true.
And that's just canon. Because Bendis says.
We should have recorded that so we had proof that Brian Michael Bendis said that Peter Parker is Jewish.
That panel's got to be online somewhere.
Right?
You would think.
For sure somebody recorded that.
Yeah. If not Dragon Con.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's somewhere. But yeah, trailer looks great. We got our first shot of Muse, another villain. Oh, Bullseye, we saw him as well.
Yeah, and we got Karen and Foggy.
Yep. Karen and Foggy are back. Looks good, man. Looks good.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been the era of stealth drops. Disney just kind of casually was like, "Here you go," and then I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but then Nintendo today with the softest console launch ever.
Was that? Wait, is it out?
No, but it's like the first announcement,
okay.
You know, and they're like, "Yeah, here's our console. Here's a little video, and then that's it." Like,
yeah, I didn't watch the video yet. I did see a picture of it, and I was like, I don't know Switches, but it looks like a Switch.
I will say that it looks like an improved, in every way of the original Switch. For instance, in the original one, the Joy-Cons kind of had this kind of awkward kind of rails on them to attach them back to the thing. And now it's there is a little port on them, but it's magnetically aligned, so you just snap them to it, and they're automatically lined up, which is really nice. The screen is considerably larger. I think it's, don't quote me on this, but I think it's 11.5-inch screen now, so it's quite a bit bigger than the other. The Joy-Cons are bigger. The screen is bigger.
At what point is it not portable anymore?
I mean, I think they were doing it because the
backpack, I guess.
The thing they're doing it because the Steam Deck is like way larger and it's such a big hit too.
And that was gonna be my next question. Like, why should I buy that instead of a Steam Deck if I wanted, on the go gaming?
I mean, I playing devil's advocate, right? Because if I'm gonna buy one of the two, if I've got a gaming computer at the house, I'm gonna get a Steam Deck, and I do. But as far as the Switch goes, it is going to be backwards compatible with all the Switch games.
Okay.
So that's good to know, physical and digital.
Oh, nice.
It does have a fully functional USB-C port, and it actually has 2 of those now. So you can like charge it and hook something up.
Yeah.
Which is cool. There's a new button on there that's kind of mysterious thing, and we also know, this is like a very terribly kept secret, but we also know that Mario Kart 9, which rumor is this is the most expensive game Nintendo has ever made.
Wow.
Apparently they really went in, because the rumor, we don't have anything confirmed yet, but the rumor is that, this thing is going to run in 4K in the dock.
Damn.
Yeah, so, and that's kind of the thing with the original Switch. It's like the resolution, most of those games in handheld mode are in 720p. So you stretch that out to a larger screen and it doesn't look good, right. Whereas now I'm assuming that all the handheld stuff's probably going to run 1080p. It's going to be nice and crisp. So I'll be interested to see what kind of hardware is in there. I'm hoping that NVIDIA is doing the hardware again. They did the original Switch hardware. And if so, man, they have a lot more techniques and stuff that they can play with now that they could not necessarily do when the original Switch came out, 10 years ago, damn near?
Wow, I guess it has been about that long, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a long-ass time. So, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. Like, I had an original Switch for a little while. I played a couple games on it. For me personally, it's never going to be my, go-to gaming, But if it's compelling enough, I might pick one up just to have something to play.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about handheld gaming, right? Like for me, the thing about it that's always been the draw is I can watch something mindless on TV while I do something mindless.
Right.
That's always kind of been like my draw to it, but half the time now, if I'm watching something, it's for this, and so I can't be mindless. Yeah,
I'm the same way. Like when I've been watching back through season 1 of Squid Games, I've been paying attention, but I could play Star Wars or whatever on my phone. But when I was watching Creature Commandos for this tonight, it was like, okay, I have to put everything down and focus, So, by the way, that's why we're here tonight. We're going to be reviewing Creature Commandos.
That is why we're here tonight.
Yeah.
So with that being said, homies, one and all, welcome back to another very special episode of the Superhero Homies Podcast. My name is Quentin, and tonight I am here once again with the Homie Award-winning co-host of the year, once again, the homie Caleb.
Once again. I mean, at this point, I need to, I'm going to need to talk to the committee and just have them make a stackable trophy.
Right.
Kind of like a Russian nesting doll.
Oh,
maybe make the award a little slightly larger each year so I can kind of fit them in to each other.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
But after your Hans Zimmer stunt that you pulled, I don't know if they're going to go for any more of your ideas for a while.
Well, they also told me not to invent my own awards again.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah, and I kind of told them to fuck off on that, and they have not returned any of my phone calls.
See, that's not good.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they're also kind of upset that they had to make a plaque for a Cool World.
They really had no intention of doing that whatsoever.
No.
Like these letters should not be sequenced in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, but this, it's not my fault.
I mean, yeah, all right.
I also caught a little bit of flack over the whole Zack Snyder and what's his name?
And the Grant Morrison
thing. Yeah,
there's been some blowback on that. Man, I know we just got started here with the episode proper, but. And I hate to get messy here, but shit, man, the Neil Gaiman stuff. Ooh.
That stuff started to come out about 2 years ago. It's crazy, right? Because it was right after Sandman. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Neil, it's your time, bro.
Right.
I mean, he's always kind of been right there.
Yep.
It's like, oh, here we go. There's the big breakthrough out of all the stuff you've done. This is so popular. Netflix, all that money. And some stuff started to come out, and then it was maybe it's not going to be that bad. It was very much kind of the way that what's the guy King the Conqueror, Jonathan Majors.
Oh yeah.
Which I heard he got acquitted of all that shit.
Yeah. He's been acquitted.
Yeah, which
which is the biggest.
Yeah.
Fuck you to him.
Yeah. So he's so Marvel, and they're like.
Yeah.
New phone, who this?
Right.
Yeah. They're like, we already done paid the Russo brothers now, dog. But, some of that stuff kind of trickled out. And then, here over the last month or two, it's just poured out. Yeah, and, man, I was on one of the mini Cosmere fandoms that I'm on, or threads or pages or whatever that I'm on. And they were like, damn it. Another one. they're like, I don't know what I'm going to do if it ever turns out that Brandon Sanderson did some fucked up shit. And I was like, yeah, man, I just can't even imagine that, to be honest. So,
bruh, yeah, that would be awful, right? And like the reason why when you said Grant Morrison, it reminded me of that is because someone brought up like a blurb that Grant Morrison said some time ago, and they were like, he had been talking about Neil Gaiman. He was, I don't exactly remember the context, but he was speaking about like respecting fans' boundaries and like not taking advantage of people and shit like that. And he was saying something to the effect of, I have seen different writers and creators have basically groupies, and how they have people approach them, and then they use maybe their status or whatever to. He didn't say it so maliciously, but almost like just like a matter of fact type of deal as to how maybe certain writers in the business do that. But he was like, but I never really wanted to do that just because, when people approach me, like when a young woman approaches my booth and I'm at a convention somewhere or something, she's looking at the person who wrote the Batman book she really liked, or the Doom Patrol story, or whatever it was that she enjoyed. She's not really looking for, someone to take advantage of the fact that she's a fan. So it was he put it very well when he worded it, but some other people are thinking, yeah, he probably has heard some shit also about Gaiman, and just kept that shit on the low.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't recommend anyone going out there and looking into, unless you really want to know some of the details. Apparently, allegedly, it's also alleged. Got to put that out there.
Yeah.
But man, it is. Wow. Yeah, I read some of that shit, and it was. Yeah.
Unlike the Vince McMahon stuff, where we're all pretty sure he did that shit.
Oh yeah. Vince is pretty sure he did that shit.
Yeah. Pretty much everybody except for his lawyer is pretty sure he did that shit.
But James Gunn, he did Creature Commandos.
That's right. So we are here today to talk about the first official entry into the DC Studios, DC Universe line of movies, video games, TV shows, whatever. So actually, until I started watching this, I actually thought that it was going to be a prequel.
Yeah.
And I think I maybe just thought that because Rick Flag Sr. was in it. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to be like the proto Suicide Squad. Mm-hmm. Whereas it's actually more of a direct sequel to the Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah.
Right,
and Peacemaker.
Yeah. So before we get too far into it, man, why don't you tell us a little bit about Creature Commandos from the source material?
Yeah, so Creature Commandos, you actually weren't far off from like what you were thinking in terms of setting, because they were originally set during World War II. And I'm trying to blank on his name. It wasn't Rick Flag Sr. who was the on-field leader. It was, forget his name. He was actually in the episode that featured G.I. Robot, where like he mows down all the Nazis.
Oh yeah.
The guy who was in charge there, I forgot his name, Sergeant Rock. And they're making a movie, I think, actually about Sergeant Rock at DCU with Daniel Craig, of all people, being attached to it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Right.
They really need to stop announcing shit until Superman makes money.
That's a good call, right?
I don't want David Zaslav to rip up all my hopes and dreams.
Right. But see, now that got me thinking, man, like if they do go through with that Sergeant Rock movie, because it's got to be set during World War II for it to be a Sergeant Rock thing. All right, will they put a live action G.I. Robot in it? James Gunn has said that they do have the capabilities already to make a live action G.I. Robot. I'm
gonna be honest, man. If that movie is like 2.5 hours of them brutally killing Nazis, 10 out of 10, dog. I'm in. I have yet to give a 10 on the podcast.
Oh, that's true.
I've never given a 10.
Yeah. I've only given one.
Yeah.
But
and that was a damn good title you gave it to. That was Judas and the Black Messiah.
yeah,
right?
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Such a good movie.
Great movie. But yeah, they Creature Commandos. They were originally a slightly different lineup of different and various monsters and whatnot. There was like a soldier who was kind of gunned down, but when he was pieced back together, he looked like Frankenstein. A GI Robot, he was there from the start. And I forget some of the other original people on there. Sergeant Rock instead of Rick Flag Sr. But over the years, obviously the roster has changed, as with all superhero teams. And we've gotten various people in and out since then, including Nina, and Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein. They've both been members as well. So yeah, it's they were originally, again, just like a group of monsters designated to doing the dirty shit that maybe other people couldn't do. So yeah, they were kind of like a proto Suicide Squad in that regard.
Did you sometimes feel like maybe they wrote down like a list of all their ideas, and then they separated the bad ideas and the good ideas out, and like the good ideas were this show and the bad ideas were Suicide Squad Isekai?
So the good idea or the bad ideas are the shit that James Gunn doesn't talk about?
Yeah, like the stories are very similar as far as like there's, you know, a beautiful princess or whatever, although the you know it's the queen in Isekai. They turn out to be, you know, kind of a megalomaniacal asshole trying to like do all this shit. Like there's two wildly different versions of Clayface.
Absolutely, right? Holy shit, they're different.
I know we're jumping ahead a little bit here, but I got to come right out of the fucking gate and just be like, fuck yes to this version of Clayface.
Yes.
And fuck no to that other version.
Right.
Like we have this horrific fucking monster on one hand, and then on the other hand we have Michael Jackson.
Yes. Straight up Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
For no reason.
For no reason.
Never explained.
This would be like if, you know, we just had like, I don't know, Firefly and they were Michael Jackson. For like, just there's no explanation.
Yeah, he's just Elvis, you know.
Yeah,
and they never acknowledge it. You know?
Yeah, they never acknowledge it. Like you know, we just have, I don't know, Two-Face, and he's played by Macaulay Culkin, and he doesn't have the two faces. He just, you know, they just call him that, and he doesn't act like Two-Face, and they never explain it.
Yeah, Suicide Squad Isekai was full of questions just like that for me. Yeah. But the Clayface one was front and center throughout the whole show.
Yeah, because in that show, he's just kind of like the Magneto of dirt.
Yeah, how often
he's
did
Dirt
he
Nito.
shapeshift? Did he shapeshift?
Once or twice, but more than often than that, he just controls mud. Yeah, which is a useful ability.
It is, especially in that setting.
But I was so happy to see like the monster version in this, and like he was horrifying, as he should be.
Yeah, absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
And I mean, beat the shit out of Frankenstein and Rick Flag.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that tribute, that Bane Batman tribute. You wish Bane did that shit to you. God, he was horrifying.
Yeah, and like just in that one short scene, you get to see like what he's really capable of doing.
Yeah, you know? and this really gave me the confidence that like they could do a Clayface movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you know, it's funny because like a little over a year ago, I was thinking, man, DC may have missed their opportunity to use Clayface because Marvel's about to drop Secret Invasion and they're going to do all the good shit with shapeshifters. Oh, I was so young and naive then.
They had one good scene.
How you got a TV show full of shapeshifters and there's only like one really good shapeshifting reveal, and that being Rhodey.
Well, to me, it was the Nick Fury reveal.
Oh.
At the end, like the twist at the end, you know. But yeah, the Rhodey one was good too. But like the Rhodey reveal is only amazing because of what it means in other properties.
That's true.
Like
that is true.
In the terms of that show, it's really irrelevant as fuck.
It is because it could have been anybody.
It could have been, yeah. Yeah. You could put Hawkeye in that same spot, and in terms of the show, it means nothing.
Yeah,
you know
that's true. That is true.
Although you'd be like, well, then why did you help these motherfuckers? You had the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, that's true. It makes it more hilarious if it's somebody else who was a Skrull since Endgame.
Yeah.
Infinity War.
Since Civil War.
Since Civil War. Because, like, if it's Hawkeye, then I'm like, you murdered, like, a bunch of Yakuza members because your family got blipped.
Because they wanted to. They were like, well, half the population got wiped out. Don't have to do this bullshit anymore. I'm just here I go killing again.
Oh shit! God damn. Yeah. So, what you think of Creature Commandos? What were some of your overall vague thoughts about the show?
So I'm very picky about art styles.
Yeah.
And I originally, based on the material I had seen, I did not think I was going to love this because the art style that I had seen, it just didn't look great to me. Mm-hmm. But I actually got to say that I feel completely opposite about it now. I think that this is some of the best looking, like, I feel like just about damn near every shot looks like it came off of a page. Yeah. Not saying like, as in like it's adapted shot to shot like like the Snyder Watchmen movie, but I mean like each frame looks like a comic panel.
Yeah.
It's so well done. And like a really well done comic panel at that. It fits the era really well, you know?
It does. I really dug the animation style of it, and I love the fluidity of it too. And that was really noticeable during the fight scenes. Speaking of which, those are very gruesome throughout the show.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
I also really like how almost every episode gave you like a glimpse into the background of one of the characters.
Yeah, I loved that setup, and as it kept going, I was like, I feel like we don't know anything about Nina. Mm-hmm. She'll be the last one.
Yep.
And that was correct. And like I was completely wrong about my guesses because I knew nothing about her as a character. I also think that like the way that they set this up and how it very quickly changes and goes off the rails is just really, really fun.
Oh yeah.
Because you think it's going to be like, okay, they're guarding this person, and like, okay, the whole show is going to be Cersei is trying to like infiltrate this place or burn it down or whatever, and it actually turns out to be sort of a really fucking chaotic whodunit.
Yeah,
you know, just a maximum chaos whodunit. And I gotta say that shit does not work without David Harbour's Frankenstein.
Oh my goodness, I was wondering what you think about it. I was like, Caleb is either gonna. He's either going to dig this Frankenstein character or he's going to hate this character.
He's the only one. He's the only criminal. He's the only motherfucker that did anything wrong. Like,
not in his eyes.
Yeah, no. I love the way that he's played. He's like, have you seen Cobra Kai, right?
Yeah.
What's the motherfucker that runs Cobra Kai at the beginning?
Yeah, Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking. Fuck is his name? Johnny.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but
Johnny.
Yeah. He's like, you know how cringe his character was in like the very beginning of the show. He's like if you turn that guy into Frankenstein at that exact moment in his growth, and he never grew anymore.
Oh, that's true.
He's just insanely fucking cringe and delusional.
Right.
I actually loved it. I loved it. Like. He's so awful.
Yeah, he's really fucking awful, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, dog. Like, how many centuries has it been? I think it's time to move on.
I think he is basically incapable of growth, though. Mm-hmm. I think he's frozen in that spot. And Dr. Frankenstein is some fuck. Uh-oh. Dr. Frankenstein really fucked up that experiment.
Oh yeah, big time, big fucking time.
And he can't fix it now.
Right.
So
yeah, it's too late now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite character in the show?
Yes. Through the entirety of the show, and this, I gotta say that this never changed all the way through. But Dr. Phosphorus was the business.
He was.
I mean, the fact that Alan Tudyk was the voice, like when that popped in the opening credits at the beginning, I was like, you. I'm gonna like you. And I was not wrong.
Oh yeah.
His backstory and everything, and just kind of his outlook on all of it. Because I'd say out of the main cast, like, he probably is like the most deranged out of them. And like, you know, we're jumping around a lot here, folks. Full spoilers, by the way. We probably should have said that earlier, but full fucking spoilers. It's like, even like late on, like towards the end of the show when he's like sitting there feeding the little girl or whatever, I was like, he could kill this little girl
at any fucking moment.
It could go either way,
right?
You know, and like I wouldn't be super shocked. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But like, you know, he's just tragic. He's hilarious and tragic, and that is James Gunn's wheelhouse. Obviously, like a lot of these characters are his wheelhouse. Obviously, my second favorite was G.I. Robot. That might be my new favorite superhero. Period. I never knew that I needed this, but I do. And just there's just something about the times, folks, that makes me really love a robot that brutally kills Nazis. I don't know what it is.
It's incredible, right?
Yeah.
Every time they go into a fight, you know, like if there could be bullets flying at them, anything, he's like, and they're like, G.I. Robot, we need you to fight. Are they Nazis?
Yeah, they are, and he's just so happy. I love it. What about you? Who's your favorite?
Actually, my favorite is kind of it was almost a toss up. I think my number one favorite was probably Bride of Frankenstein.
She was great.
Yeah,
and I actually kind of similar to Agatha. How was Patty LuPone's character? I can't remember the actual character's name, but in the beginning of that show, I was like, I'm not going to care about you.
Yeah,
wrong.
Yeah,
wrong. And I had the same. I haven't learned my lesson. I had the same exact thought here. I was like, you're going to be my least favorite one of these characters, but I actually like them all. I mean,
same. And then I like Nina a lot.
Yes.
Spoiler alert again. I was very upset when she died.
Me too, because I was like, "There's so much."
Yeah.
So there's Aquaman and Arthur and other, and then there's the different kind of Atlanteans. What are they called?
Fuck, I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right? There's the Atlanteans that look like people, and then there's the Atlanteans that look like her.
Yeah.
So
with her though, hers was more like a mutation type deal.
Yeah, and I actually thought she was an Atlantean because she looks very similar to the way they look.
Right. And she also has, again, a very, very sad backstory as well, you know. And, man, think about these backstories. The only one who maybe isn't absolutely tragic, maybe G.I. Robot, and that's just because of his perception of it.
It's also my perception of it.
And again, going back to G.I. Robot real quick. So when we do get to his episode and to his backstory, right, we get to see what happens with him. He's in World War II with Sergeant Rock, and you know he's got the whole platoon. And I think that actually all those characters in that scene that survived, I think they're all from those original comic books from way back in the day. But he survives, and then after the war, it's almost like G.I. Robot. He's almost like an analogy for like discarded war vets. It's kind of the feel that I got for it, just because he comes back from war and he's a man out of place. Like society doesn't really have a place for him, and so no one really knows what to do with him. Like he gets to go on the TV shows or whatever. He gets the awards or whatever. But
that shit was so uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah, because he's just scanning for Nazis.
Yeah. Have you collected all these people's identification? No, why would we do that? Well, they could be Nazis.
They could be Nazis.
Sean Gunn really killed it.
He did. Yeah, because he was the voice for
G.I. Robot and Weasel.
That's right. Which, I mean, voicing Weasel, that's like...
You just have to be like, and whatnot.
Yeah, you ever seen the Wild Thornberries?
Yeah.
Remember the little kid from that show?
It's like that, yeah.
But, you know, he goes into like... basically like just a storage unit, and then he's sold off to a fucking neo-Nazi of all people. And I don't know what this guy knew about G.I. Robot.
Well, see, okay, so there's two things about this, right? Where it's like, number one, I immediately knew where this was going.
Oh.
When he's talking to the guy to sell him to him, I was like, oh no, oh yes. that was my brain. As soon as the guy's having the conversation with the neo-Nazi that buys him.
Yeah.
And like before you find out he's a neo-Nazi, I think it's around the time he was a military enthusiast.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yes, this is gonna be amazing. And I was on the edge of my seat for the whole rest of that episode because I just knew it was coming.
I didn't know it was going there. I bought it. I was like, okay, this guy, he's like one of these World War II expert type people.
I did not actually, and I understand why they didn't play it this way, but I would have. It's like, to me, I think from a social commentary perspective, and like I said, maybe they intentionally didn't go this way. I thought it was going to be like a meeting and they were going to go there. I didn't think they were going to have the big ass swastika up on the thing.
Right.
I thought that this was going to be kind of like some of the neo-Nazis we have today where they legitimately don't believe they are Nazis.
Right.
So like I was kind of hoping they were just going to kind of talk about their ideas and the robot was just going to be like, wait. But I can see why you didn't play it that way. But that's what I would have done.
Oh yeah,
because that would have been hilarious to me.
It would have been, yeah.
But it probably would have taken way more time. That the pacing through all of these is really well. I mean, like 27, 28 minute episodes,
right?
So,
yeah. And also, like, he maybe should have checked them for ammo before he decided to take them out in public.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just, with my robot friend. And at first, like, before I saw the giant swastika, I was like, oh, no, he's just malfunctioning. Like, he's just killing people because he thinks they're Nazis. And then I was like, oh, no, these people are Nazis. They are, in fact, Nazis.
They are, in fact, Nazis. Carry on.
When they showed the swastika, he was so happy.
Oh, yeah. Like, you can see him smile.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, I mean, at the end, we got a, like, ultra mega version of him.
Yes. Because I was so distraught when Cersei killed them. I was like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I mean, there have been several G.I. robots in the comics, you know, like, there's not just one. As a matter of fact, I think doing, like, the World War II shot, I think he's got, like, the number 2 on his helmet. Maybe signifying that he's the second one. Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. But either way, like, this has got to be, like, a completely new G.I. robot, right? Because, like, he got obliterated, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah, he really did.
So I imagine they just made a whole new one.
They probably got him backed up somewhere.
That part, too. Yeah.
They just got a fucking Nazi killing Ultron
right.
backed up on a fucking flash drive somewhere.
Oh, shit. Weasel's backstory was also interesting as well.
That shit was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like, that shit was kind of hard to watch, to be honest. That shit was tragic. Like,
right.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if this applies to a few of the homies, if the like little animal scenes in Guardians 3 bothered you, I'm looking at you, Lauren. Don't watch this episode of this show. I think it was 5 or so.
Yeah, the Weasel-centric episode.
Yeah, dude, don't watch the Weasel episode. It's rough. It was kind of hard to watch in places just because of how tragic it is. And also, that old man should mind his damn business.
Right. Mind his own goddamn business.
It wasn't enough that he was a Karen and called the cops, which, makes everything worse anyway. Mm-hmm. But, then he, went home and got a gun and tried to intervene.
Right. Because that always works out for the best.
Right. Yeah. Every time.
Every time. Yeah. It's so interesting, right, with the Weasel, because here's a fun fact for you, homies. James Gunn, he does this thing, right, where he goes 90% full tilt comic book weirdness, and then, the other 10%, he's freestyling.
Yeah.
The Weasel is a freestyle, right?
Yeah.
So, he is from the comic books, but, in the comic books, is he a college athlete? But he's like a young guy who wants to get a leg up on competition, and he puts on this he becomes Pharaoh basically, and puts on this weasel outfit and starts murking people.
He's a furry.
He's a furry. He's a furry. and James Gunn was like, that's funny, but it's not funny enough.
Yeah. Weasel was hilarious in Suicide Squad and in this.
I also love how they call back to the fact that he can't swim.
Yeah.
And so they strap him down when they're on the ship.
Yeah.
So he doesn't fucking jump.
Yeah. And they also talk about it last time he was on this particular ship, it went poorly for him.
Yeah. Also, his what do you call it? His caseworker, his lawyer, the lady who was there.
Yeah, how do they actually communicate with him other than feeding him snacks?
Right. I don't think you can really. But it's funny. She calls him John for John Doe because she don't know his real name. But I think the character's real first name is John. So. But yeah, his whole backstory was really tragic as well. And what I got from all of them was that James Gunn kind of makes it explicit, right, about monsters and yeah, we can call these people or these creatures monsters, but the people that kind of put them there are maybe the bigger monsters.
Yeah. Very Geralt of Rivia.
Yeah. Yeah. I do wonder, because, we are going to see some of these characters in live action at some point. And I imagine they were going to start with Rick Flag Sr.
You think Frank Grillo will play him in Superman? Maybe a cameo?
I think we already see him in one shot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think so. What's interesting, though, is that, if my eyes don't deceive me and if my memory serves correct, in that one shot, I think he's walking with Superman, almost in cuffs. But he didn't have any of the gray, and so that kind of threw me off.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and get that shit dyed, my boy. Yeah.
I wonder. So, I in all the discussion about everything, for whatever reason, I never thought about Suicide Squad being canon. Mm-hmm. So, did Bloodsport shoot Corn Sweat Superman?
Holy shit. I don't know if they thought about that. They had to have thought about that.
They had to have thought about that. Because in the Superman movie, he's been Superman for a while. So maybe they'll reference it.
Maybe he had a little scar where he got shot with a kryptonite bullet or something.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. That's extreme attention to detail, but I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. That needs to be mentioned.
It needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
But we can leave the Deadpool and Thor thing just out there. I see. Yeah. But we have to talk about this.
One of them, okay. Or, no, we're not having this discussion.
We're not doing it?
No, we're not doing this discussion.
Right. Okay. Yeah, right, because both of them need to be thoroughly addressed. You're correct.
The Deadpool and Thor scene is just a throwaway gag, okay?
It's not going to be. It's not. And to Wade, it isn't.
Well, okay, to Wade, a lot of things are not throwaway. That should definitely be. I cannot wait for Avengers Doomsday or Secret Wars, but I loathe sitting in that theater, having to sit next to you and Oz. And we get
Brendan.
and we get the payoff for that goddamn Thor.
And the whole theater cheers except for you.
I'm gonna hate that so much.
And the Russos are gonna give it to you. Yeah.
All right, if the Russos hear this by any chance, if you guys do this, you're gonna put a real low glass ceiling on the score for that movie.
Do you think they'll complete the main Community cast? I mean, obviously they're not going to put Chevy Chase in the movie, but
right, yeah, no.
do you think we get a Donald Glover cameo or a? Let's see, who else they already got? They already got Shirley. They already got Abed. They already got the Dean. So
no. What about what's his name? Was it Troy? No.
Oh, you talking about Chang?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, we got him, haven't we?
Yeah.
No. White guy.
Talking about the main character?
Yeah.
Yeah. Joel.
Yeah.
Isn't he a Joel? Is that his real name?
I thought so. I mean, but the only Joel I can think of is like Kinnaman, and that's not him.
No. Yeah, I went to a worse Joel. I went Osteen.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know why my brain pulled that out.
You went to Christian Joker?
Not Schumacher. Not
Last of Us.
Yeah. That's all I got. But yeah, he could be in it. You know, they could get him.
Yep. And
old Jeffrey Winger.
Oh, yeah.
Allison Brie.
Yeah, Allison Brie. She hasn't been in MCU project.
And then whatever Britta's actress's name.
Yep.
The worst.
Oh, you weren't a Britta fan?
I mean, she played the character well, but Britta's the worst. So yeah, they got to get all three of them.
Yep.
In there somehow. Well, 4. Donald Glover.
Yep.
So they got to find a way to squeeze him in.
It's possible.
I mean, there's a very easy way to get Donald Glover into Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And you should do it.
Prowler him up.
Yeah. Yeah, or fucking, he could be a multiverse Miles, like an older multiverse Miles.
Yeah, old man Miles.
Old man Miles. Yeah. I don't know that that's necessarily in anybody's like, I really want to see this. You know? Why not like an old woman stature series right after that?
Why'd you say that? Now they're going to greenlight this shit.
There won't even be a comic. Like, they're just going to go straight to...
this is our old woman stature book.
Yeah. This time, though, they won't recast her. They'll use the worst one from Ant-Man 3, and they'll just put, like, the Johnny Knoxville old person makeup on.
God damn it. God, then I had to watch that shit.
Oh, God. Please. Kevin Feige, listen, don't do it to us. We've suffered enough.
So yeah, you talked about how like this show does have kind of like a series of twists in it. What's a twist?
With the twist,
and it really does, right? Because it starts off with with our ragtag group being assembled, being led by Rick Flag Sr., who I don't believe has truly dealt with the trauma of losing his son.
No,
at all. And they have to go to this vague Eastern European country.
Yeah, it's not quite Corto Maltese, but it could be.
It's somewhere between Corto Maltese and Latveria.
Yeah, and Sokovia. Somewhere between those three places. It's always like an Eastern European, like fringe state, you know. And
it's got to be because Americans just turn their brains off whenever Eastern European countries are typically brought up. They're like, yeah, it's somewhere over there.
Yeah, Europe consists of like Spain, France, Britain, England, and them other countries.
Yeah, all them other places.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you remember taking social studies or geography in high school or middle school.
You might get Italy.
Yeah, might get Italy. You know, you remember that like Sweden and Norway and Finland were like all kind of close together. That's about it.
I think you're vastly overestimating the intelligence of the average American citizen.
You might be right. I don't know. You might be onto something. But they are sent to go there to protect the queen of this vague European country. What was her name again?
They call her the princess, Princess Ilana.
That's right, Princess Ilana.
She's not a queen, but she's in charge. It's weird.
Oh, that's right, because we do get a shot of her mother, and her mother's like a goddamn mummy.
Like a zombie. Yeah. Yeah, fucking. We'd be remiss if we didn't go ahead and just rehash the fact that Viola Davis, once again, fucking slaying it.
Yes. Killing that shit, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she's really making the case for her being like the definitive Amanda Waller.
Oh, I think we're already there. Yeah. And you know, I'm a huge CCH Pounder fan. Mm-hmm. But Viola Davis, man.
Yeah.
She is Amanda Waller.
Yeah.
You know?
And they are sent to go there to protect Ilana because her life is being threatened by Cersei, who was leading a band of people called the Sons of Themyscira. This is another really interesting freestyle by James Gunn. In the comics, the Sons of Themyscira are like the castaway male children from the Amazons.
Right.
And here, though, they are just a bunch of incels. I can't think of another word.
Yeah, like they're a bunch of like incel pirates.
Yeah, who are actually dumb enough and I guess brave enough to a degree, if you want to use that word, to actually attack people and countries. I guess like they're being led by Cersei, who is a fucking sorceress. So I mean that's something.
What'd you think of Cersei's portrayal here?
Actually, I liked it here.
Yeah.
I really dug it.
It's interesting that they're using her because of the way that her role in Wonder Woman Absolute.
Yeah, right. I thought the same thing. Yeah. She's like a mother figure to Diana in that. Yeah.
Yeah, she's been a villain all this time, mm-hmm. and then she got her big face turn, and then James Gunn was like, nah.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to read that shit. Right. Although apparently a lot of people do actually
want to read that. Yeah, so the whole Sons of Themyscira thing was also kind of hilarious. Also, just hearing the shit that they were saying and like their whole mindset. You know, I'm like, y'all just want to go to Themyscira,
right?
I mean, which I don't blame them for that part, but it's like the way of going about it.
Well, apparently in this particular lore, they kill anybody that shows up, like outsiders.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So hard pass.
Yeah, that's true. That is a emphasis on the hard.
Death by snoo.
Death by snoo. Which is kind of how like they were portrayed for a while, you know.
Right.
Like, you know, men would shipwreck and wash up on shore. They have a great one night, and then then you're fucking dead.
Yeah. You get sacrificed to Poseidon or whatever.
Oh yeah. To somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they show up here to protect the princess, and like I'm not gonna say that like I knew something was off with the princess immediately, but it was almost like she's too good.
Yeah, especially to be a Eastern European dictator, mm-hmm. They tend to not be.
Yeah.
You know, at first you just think she's like thirsty,
mm-hmm.
you know, but then as it goes on, you're like, something's not quite right with you.
Right.
And they did a really good job of deflecting, where it's like, oh well, the story just wants you to think that because it's actually this, mm-hmm. and it's like, nah, she dirty.
Yeah. And where the twist really gets interesting, right, is when they capture Cersei, which, by the way, the fight between Bride of Frankenstein and Cersei, that was a fight.
That was a great fight. My favorite fight in the entire show has, I I think it's actually Rick Flag Sr. and Dr. Phosphorus.
That was a good fight too.
That was a great fight. Yes. I also really loved, of course, Clayface versus Frankenstein.
Yes.
I'm not even going to put Rick Flag Sr. in that fight because there was not a fight. He was a casualty.
Bruh, he just got fucking wrecked.
I thought he was dead.
Bruh, yeah. That shit was brutal.
I was like, they were like, yeah, we can't afford Frank Grillo for long. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, there were some really cool fights. Again, I love when G.I. Robot obliterates all of the Cersei's people before Cersei obliterates him.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
They're Nazis, man.
Yeah, I mean, fuck it. Yeah. Yeah, it's dangerous if you have control of G.I. Robot because you can just tell them that anybody's a Nazi and then they're dead.
Yeah. Be like, well, that guy's a Nazi. He's not checking beyond just you telling him that they're Nazis. So,
but we do know he can use his own discernment, which
true.
Is also dangerous.
Right? Yeah, yeah. That's even worse somehow. You know.
Yeah. So let me see here. Yeah. So we move on here to like. Here we go. Yeah, so we move on here, right, to like with the main plot of the storyline here. And so come to find out, there is a twist here where we do see Cersei get captured and she's taken in and she's being interrogated or whatnot. And then she shows a very horrid vision of things to come if Alanna remains in power, that she will start this massive war that will just end the world as we know it. And it is gruesome. Like, we get shots of, like, the Justice League dead up on pikes, including Superman and Batman. I mean, like, you can freeze frame and just pick out all the people. You see Peacemaker lying on the ground, Vigilantes up there.
I still want to know how she planned to go about all of that.
That's what I want to know, too. Like, how did she accomplish that? Like, how was she going to get there?
Right.
Like, I mean, honestly, it looked like she had, like, a red sun because the sky was super fucking red.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you get rid of Superman. In terms of like all the other ones, I don't know what she did.
You know, I believe it was it Darkseid that said every revolution begins. Oh, it was Thanos, right? No? Every revolution begins with an empty peasant's stomach.
Oh.
Or was that Doom?
I think that was Doom.
Yeah, that sounds like a Dr. Doom thing.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Darkseid wouldn't give a fuck about that.
Yeah, he was like, well, we don't give a shit about my people starving right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But no, that I do believe that is a Doom saying because Doom does take care of his people.
That's true.
Some way, somehow, he takes care of his people, and they're like, yeah, he's the greatest.
Yeah, yeah. We're not sure what you guys' problem is.
I'm like, all right. Yeah, but that was a fucking gruesome image that we got of the Justice League and some Teen Titan members. They were just all wrecked. But yeah, so now Amanda Waller has it in her head that, okay, well, we have to kill Alanna. Like, so we're gonna send the team back out there without Rick Flag because at this point he was in the hospital fighting for his life.
And you know, very important here, they have this like, I guess, Themysciran scholar come in.
Yep.
That is like an expert on like metahumans and whatnot and clairvoyancy. And she kind of explains to them like, no, they couldn't, like, she doesn't have the ability to fabricate this. Yeah. It's probably realistic, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, and like just seeing that and then hearing that from this scholar here, that's enough for Amanda Waller to give the signal. Go ahead and kill this bitch.
Full tilt.
Yeah.
Like, I know you guys just got home, but we're sending you right back.
Sending you right back.
And Rick Flag was like, we're not doing it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so Rick Flag and Dr. Frankenstein, this is when they start, you know, they were searching for clues. In the meanwhile,
their little buddy cop stuff was hilarious.
It was. And their fight was also great, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. He was gonna punch him in the eye or shoot him in the eye.
Right. Yeah, and like the whole thing, like man, just fighting because he thought that Rick Flag wanted his woman, who's not even his woman.
Yeah, not even his woman.
Yeah.
And like he has no interest whatsoever.
Bro, when Rick was on the phone, I forget who he was talking. He was talking to Ilana.
Yeah.
And Frankenstein was like, "Hey, put in a good word for me, man. Tell her to tell my bride that I'm a good guy, and that I'm just." And he would not let that shit go.
No, he's just obsessed, man.
Bruh. Holy shit. And you're right. We go back and look at the backstories and when he was like first, left for dead and cast out and then found by the old blind lady and the dog. It's like this really heartwarming story, and then he fucking kills her at the end for no reason. Like, yeah, you're kind of an asshole.
Yeah. He just seems to randomly kill.
Yeah.
Like, he had no reason to actually kill that lady.
None.
Nor the stewardesses and stuff on the plane.
Right.
Like all the flight attendants and shit.
Or like his own men in the helicopter who were helping him out.
Yeah.
He just murders them all.
Yeah, for no reason. But he paid those 2 pilots that flew him over.
Hell yeah. I mean, I don't think the money's worth it, looking at his track record.
No, considering you got like a 8% chance of survival.
Right.
You have the same survival chances as if you're one of the Joker's henchmen.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like, Joker's henchmen, they've got to get paid top-notch henchman rates because it's like a 97.8% chance that you're either going to get killed by the Joker or brutally beaten by Batman.
Yeah. Now, granted, it's not going to be a thorough beating because he's going to beat the shit out of you on the way to the Joker.
That's true.
But also because of that, he doesn't have time.
Right.
So whatever he does to you is going to be horrific.
Yeah.
He's going to like drop a fucking piano on you or whatever.
He's gonna like fucking Mortal Kombat kick you, and your spleen is gonna bounce around your rib cage.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we do get the Clayface reveal here when Frankenstein and Rick discover that the clairvoyant doctor had actually been killed at some point and replaced with Clayface, and this is the red herring. Because now it looks like Cersei planned this all along, when in reality we know that it was Ilana who planned this portion to take the heat off of her.
Yeah. It was a great twist.
It was. It really was. And so at this point, we're all rooting for Rick to get out of the hospital because, I mean, what happens next is we get the Clayface fight, and that shit does not go well.
And of course, Clayface would be one of those people that like boots up Mortal Kombat and just presses buttons.
Right. Motherfucker can change into anybody in the world and has all these abilities, but yet is a button masher.
Yeah.
What a scumbag.
Yeah. What a real piece of shit.
But through sheer luck, honestly, they are able to survive this fight with Clayface. I do not think he's dead, though.
Oh, no. Absolutely not.
No. Yeah.
No, I think he's going to reform.
Absolutely. And he's going to be mad at some motherfuckers, so.
Yeah. Yeah, it was actually pretty brilliant of Frankenstein to go for the electric wire.
Yeah, that was his only hope.
Yeah.
Really.
Otherwise, he was about to get completely consumed.
Yeah. So, yeah, Rick Flag, he is fighting for his life now in the hospital. And the rest of the crew is going back over to kill Ilana. And it is along the way there where we get the Dr. Phosphorus flashback scenes.
Man.
Whew.
His backstory was awful.
Right.
So essentially, he had kind of one of the more in-depth ones. Mm-hmm. Is he gets into business with this kind of mob boss type figure, clearly in Gotham City.
I think Rupert Thorne.
Yeah. And sort of the deal is, we'll fund your research to do this thing that you're doing, but all your research also has to get sent to this oppressive regime, probably in another random Eastern European country. Mm-hmm. And so he just decides he's going to fake the research that he sends over there to this oppressive regime. And he gets found out, and it does not go well at all. So they end up murdering his family in front of him, framing him for the murder, taking him to the lab, getting all the shit from the lab anyway, and then attempting to burn him alive in his own machine.
Yeah. Rupert was like, so I just watched this movie called The Watchmen.
And this would never happen twice.
Oh, shit. And I mean, man, to come out like that, yeah, I think that would mentally fuck you up as much as it does physically,
Yeah, his backstory is really, really rough.
It is, man. Like, it's fucking tragic.
And I assure you that Rupert and all of his thugs wish that machine had killed him.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's what they get for being so creative. They should have just shot him.
Yeah. Man, I think that maybe not the guy that got it the worst, but like the most creative one was the dude he hung upside down. And he just melted through his ankles until, oh my God.
That was awful.
Yeah. That's like an awful fucking way to go.
Bruh. Oh yeah, that was atrocious.
You're gonna be praying to hit the ground.
Oh yeah.
From there.
Cause it's like a slow controlled burn.
Yeah.
And just fuck that.
Yeah, and you're gonna be like bleeding horrifically while your seared flesh is just burning the shit out of you all the whole way down. Yeah.
Backing up really quick to the Dr. Phosphorus and Rick Flag fight. Man, that was such a cool fight because it was like you can tell that Rick is like the more skilled hand-to-hand combatant, but he's never fought a motherfucker like this.
Yeah. It's made of fire.
Made of fucking fire, so he puts on the oven mitt.
Yeah.
And I love that shit.
The whole fight was so good, man. Where it's like, you also really get the impression, too, that Dr. Phosphorus is not used to fighting people as skilled as Rick Flag Sr.
Yeah.
And he was like getting outmatched constantly to the point where he had to use his like heat abilities more and more.
Bro, at one point, like, I think it was after Rick had put on the oven mitt so he could like actually grab him. You see Dr. Phosphorus, he grabs a cup of water, heats it up, and then throws it on Rick.
Yeah. The scene where he first gets the oven mitt and grabs the back of his head and just beats him on the counter. It's hilarious.
Oh, shit. Oh, it was great. Also, what I really love about this show is that, like, they don't really play back into the same trope with the Suicide Squad, which is, if you don't complete this mission this amount of time, we're going to blow your heads up.
Oh, God, yeah, I was really glad that didn't keep coming up. I'm already really tired of that shit. So, that like the remote really only came up in that fight.
Yep.
And after that, you really don't have it again. I'm glad they went that route. I was very much worried about this falling into like, oh, this is just Suicide Squad again trope. And on the very surface level, I guess it is. But like, hell, most of the members of the Suicide Squad kind of deserve to be on there. Whereas like,
with them,
I feel like with the Creature Commandos, like I said, Frankenstein's the only monster here. Like,
right. And he's not technically on the team.
Yeah, he's not on the team. Yeah, he's the fucking criminal. Like, most of the rest of them didn't really do anything wrong. I mean...
Yeah, what did Nina do?
Right, yeah. Yeah. The bride didn't... I mean, she's probably, I guess, the worst out of them.
That's true. She has killed people.
So...
Yeah. But they probably had it coming,
Yeah, and I mean, G.I. Robot never did anything wrong.
Right.
Like...
Yeah, he was serving the country.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, and humanity, one could say. Yeah. I mean, Weasel was just trying to help those kids.
Right. Yeah, Weasel never even got a fair trial or anything.
Yeah, no. So.
Yeah.
I mean, Dr. Phosphorus seems like he probably did some shit.
Actually, yeah, Dr. Phosphorus, he did have like a whole criminal life,
Yeah, and as we know, Batman probably got his ass.
Yeah.
How erect were you in that scene?
Oh. my God, I was like a thug in Arkham Knight. It's the bat.
It's the bat. We have officially have seen the DCU Batman.
Yeah. Boy, he was a wide boy too.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he had some stature on
looking
him.
like that absolute.
You're right.
Yeah.
Imagine if that's what the route that James Gunn went.
Oh my God! If he takes that fucking emblem off of that suit and uses it as an axe, 11 out of 10.
Holy shit! Goddamn.
They can cast whoever they want as Damien.
So
any one of the Stranger Things kids
who are like 28.
yeah, they'd be 30 by the time the movie comes out.
I didn't know this, but how do you feel about Andy Muschietti being the director for Brave and the Bold?
Is that the motherfucker that did The Flash?
Yes.
Oh no.
Uh-huh.
They got to change that, right?
I think he's still attached to do Brave and the Bold.
They'll change that, right?
Bro.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, he is going to win. Mark my words for the 2025 homies. He is going to win the I Should Have Shut the Fuck Up award. that Zack Snyder almost won this year.
Bro, like, Andy, this isn't the first time he said some wild shit about this Flash movie.
I feel like, no, it's definitely not the first time he said some wild shit, but I think this is the wildest shit he ever said.
Yeah.
We're going to sidebar here in case you guys aren't familiar with this, but like, he basically said that the reason the movie didn't do well, and granted, most of the time when this motherfucker is in the news in any capacity, it starts off just like this. Oh, well, the reason my movie sucked. Like, he just keeps making excuses for this film. The reason your movie sucked is because you tried, even though you said you didn't, is because you tried to loosely, terribly adapt a story that is very famous and that everyone who has seen it loves. Mm-hmm. And instead of just making that, you tried to do fuck all. And I don't know what to tell you. Like, but his reasoning here is the reason that the Flash movie didn't do well is because people just don't care about the Flash as a character. That
was some of the most mind-blowing, asinine bullshit I had heard in a long time.
I mean,
way to pass the buck. You know what I mean?
Like, yes, we hate CW, but Grant Gustin carried that universe on his back for a long time.
Absolutely.
You know, like obviously him and
Oliver Queen. Stephen
Amell.
Yeah.
For a while, but then Stephen Amell was gone, and Grant Gustin through those later years. Oh my God, you know.
Yeah.
I'd say people care about the Flash as a character, not to mention that he's like an OG fucking Justice Leaguer.
Right.
Has been around for all this time. I mean, like, people went to go see Aquaman 1 made $1 billion.
Yeah.
What's your excuse?
Yeah. You mean to tell me that people like Aquaman more than the Flash? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, and you can't just be like, oh, it's Jason Momoa, because like they didn't go see the fucking second one.
Right. Yeah. So like that, I think that like that whole ideology in Hollywood of passing the buck, that shit needs to stop, because it is just the most babyish behavior that I've seen from adults in a long time.
Yeah, you just fail upwards, right? Yeah. And it's like, this dude can't fucking direct Batman. You can't trust the crown jewel,
right,
to this chuckle fuck. I mean, you just can't. And this is the guy that thought, oh well, we'll just put Wonder Woman and Ben Affleck in the movie, and it'll be fine, and we'll have George Clooney at the end. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, and like this is like, and I didn't even recognize that he was going to be the director until I looked at that article that talked about him making excuses for the Flash, and then I did some more looking into it, and yeah, he, as of now, he is still attached to direct the the Batman movie, Brave and the Bold, and that just has me baffled.
They got to get him off of that shit.
They have to.
Clearly, they didn't watch The Flash.
I mean, like, I was going to say, is he contractually obligated? But they can just fire him still.
Let me tell you, there's only one person who decided he should run like that. That's the director. Mm-hmm. The director is the person that goes, okay, I want you to do it like this.
Yeah.
Awful.
Here's my second favorite Andy excuse is when he said the CG was supposed to look like that in The Flash. It was supposed to look awful.
Yeah. It was intentionally supposed to look terrible to remind you of the 90s.
And I just can't with this guy. And it's crazy because he did the It movies, right?
Yeah.
And I actually like those.
I haven't seen them, the new ones.
Mm-hmm. I think they're quite good. But maybe horror is his wheelhouse and not superhero.
There's a pattern here, right? Like, it's the Bill Skarsgård thing, and then this guy.
Oh, yeah.
The worst Skarsgård.
Okay, we need to stop with this worst Skarsgård narrative.
The worst Muschietti.
He's the only Muschietti.
He might. I'm sure he's not. I'm sure he had a father. He might have a son.
He's just assuming that he's the worst.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's the only one I know, and he's the worst one I know. But yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Is everybody out of those It movies? They're just doomed to fail now.
God damn.
They're cursed.
Yeah, I can only imagine how his Batman and Robin movie is gonna look. Whew.
Well, I'll be honest with you. At the beginning of this show, you had me really hopeful, but actually now I'm hoping Dick Grayson's not in it.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect from that.
Hopefully, replacement.
Yeah. We can only hope.
I'll be honest with you. If the Superman movie doesn't make any money and they cancel the whole thing, I can be like, well, at least we didn't have to. At least we didn't have to put up with that shit.
Yeah, because like, what story was he not going to adapt for Brave and the Bold? You know,
right?
Yeah.
He's just gonna go straight to the whole where Talia makes the evil robot.
Oh, not the Lazarus Pit.
No, but where Talia does the Damien bot or whatever, the Damien robot.
Fucking hell, the clone.
Yeah.
That was so fucking weird. Thank you, Grant Morrison, for that story, though.
And then they're going to time travel, and he's going to meet a different version of Damien. And, like, that version of Damien will go try to fix it. And every time he'll come back with a different mechanical part.
Okay, I think we've gone... I think this is starting to sound a little familiar. It sounds like charted territory.
Okay.
Yeah, we can probably just...
We've gone too far. To bring us back to Creature Commandos, though, the whole time I'm watching this, I'm loving it, right? It's textbook James Gunn.
Yep.
The cynic in me, just the back of my mind, I'm like, this is right in his wheelhouse, though. How far out of his wheelhouse can he bat? Like, obviously, Superman was important enough to him and to the DCU that, like, he wrote and directed this movie. Like, he did not trust anybody else to do it. But on that same note, man, like, can he tell that kind of hopeful story that, like, can he be serious? Because Creature Commandos is, I mean, it's funny, it's violent, it's little known characters. They're off in this kind of dark corner of the universe where they can't fuck with anything in the main canon necessarily. Once again, that's his wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. We've got to see, can he make a different story? And I'm not saying that he's treading, familiar ground. Like, this felt familiar to the Guardians and to Suicide Squad and to Peacemaker, but it was its own thing. Like, the story was really good. It was all really well done. So I mean, if anything, we know he can continuously iterate on this same kind of formula and it still be fresh and exciting. But, we can't have 18 TV shows and 7 movies of that.
Yeah.
And Superman can't be one of them, and Batman can't be one of them.
You're right. I think the optimist in me says that in all of his movies and TV shows so far, he has shown characters with extreme heart and growth. Whether it be Rocket or whether it be Peacemaker of all people. He does present characters in a way where he lines you up to really feel for them, and then you get to see them go through some shit and come out the other end, and so I think that will play a very big part in his Superman movie. And then the other reason why I'm optimistic about it, other than the fact that I think that James Gunn he's a great filmmaker, is because adapting All-Star Superman is such a smart move for James Gunn, because he loves the weird and obscure.
Yeah.
And I think that a story like that is something that is going to be right up his wheelhouse to kind of loosely adapt. So those are kind of my reasons why I think that why the optimist in me is very hopeful for this movie. But we gonna see.
I think one of the other things too is it's like, I think James Gunn has to do a little bit of this, and that might be why we have some of these other characters like the ridiculous ass Guy Gardner and stuff like that. Like, as long as he does a little bit of it, I'm not mad at it. Mm-hmm. It's just that Superman doesn't need to be in on any of the antics, and Lois either. You know,
yeah.
So if they want to have Jimmy Olsen be this fucking hilarious ass character, go for it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think that's entirely possible because even in Creature Commandos, there's quite a few characters who, even amongst all the ha-has, they're pretty straight-laced.
I mean, yeah. The Bride.
Yeah, the Bride, Rick.
Yeah.
Like there's a Weasel. I'm joking.
Yeah.
So they do exist. But carrying on with the story here, so we get to the part where the team, the Commandos, they are able to finally infiltrate the HQ or the castle of the princess, and Alana, she is swimming in like this kind of like pond that she has on her property, and the only person who can stealthily get in there and get the job done to get out is Nina. And Nina, who, as we discussed earlier, has a tragic backstory. She's never killed anyone, and she's not sure that she wants to kill the princess, but she's the only one that can do it. And the bride kind of forces her hand into doing it. And so she goes into the water, and then like the way that this is done is very very cool because we get to see like shots of like her flashback as she's swimming, with her in her younger days.
Right.
It was pretty cool. What do you think of her backstory?
I loved it. It was not what I expected at all. And we have to imagine that the stuff he injected her with, that's got to be like Atlantean DNA or something.
Something like that, right? Like, yeah. I mean, because it made her amphibian,
Yeah.
So I'd imagine so.
I thought it was really cool. Very tragic,
I assume that this is something that James Gunn has done purposely, but her father in the comic books created G.I. Robot. And in the TV show, G.I. Robot and Nina have like a pretty cool friendship going on.
Yeah.
So I imagine this kind of like maybe a wink and a nod.
Yeah.
Just a cool sidebar. But yeah, we see Nina as a kid, and apparently this is like a real condition to a degree, where like some children are born with their lungs either not fully developed or even on the outside. Which
seems bad.
Yeah, seems real bad.
I'm not a doctor.
Yeah,
but seems real bad.
I'm like, if I were a doctor, I'd be like, we should probably do something about this.
Yeah,
I don't think that's supposed to be like that. the mother is a deadbeat mom, and she can't hang, and she just leaves at some point. And but the dad sticks around, tries to make it work for his daughter. She has to wear this heavy ass fucking incubator type contraption, and that shit is heavy as fuck.
She was like a baby version of the Big Daddies from BioShock. That's immediately what I thought of.
That's hilarious.
I was like, you just need to put like a drill arm on there just to make it really fucking terrifying.
Right. Eventually, he does inject the mutagen or whatever he does into her, and that turns her into the amphibian Nina that we now know. And she continues going to grade school, and surprise, surprise, she's bullied for looking like a fish person, and that shit was unfortunate. But then eventually she's like, you know what, I'm not meant to be here. So she leaves a note to her dad, and she runs away. And of course that breaks her dad's heart. And her father never stopped looking for her. Eventually there are sightings of like a fucking fish monster creature, almost like a Creature of the Black Lagoon type deal. And she is caught and captured. The father shows up. He tries to rescue his daughter, and he is shot in the process. But because she is not in water, she cannot react or scream or anything, because she doesn't have the capabilities of doing so. And so she sees her father shot and killed, and she's taken away. Real bad, real bad. So you juxtapose that with her now in the situation where she has to infiltrate and kill the princess. She's underwater. She sees the princess. She goes in for the kill. She hesitates. The princess does not.
Yeah.
And she shanks the shit out of Nina. And Nina's dead. Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah.
Real bad. Real bad. But, after this has happened, this is now when Waller calls in to the bride and says, hey, yeah, so come to find out, Alana is, she's not, this bad evil person, calling the mission off. And, that's like adding even more injury to insult,
Right. You just watch this person kill your friend. Mm-hmm. And now you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. But interestingly enough, is later on here when the bride is in like the main chambers of Ileana, there's a copy of was it Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice little tongue in cheek.
Yeah. And it's here when the bride makes it known that she's put together all the pieces and she's figured it out, that Nina is not who she claims to be, and that while Cersei...
You mean Alana?
I mean, yeah, that Alana is not who she claims to be, and while Cersei may be a bitch, she wasn't a liar, and so the bride confronts Alana. Alana tries to make a move. The bride makes a move faster. Bullet right through the head.
That scene, like the way they shot her killing her, was perfect.
Oh yeah, that was a sick kill, real sick kill. So she just wanted to fuck Rick Flag, Ilana that is, just to kind of pull the wool over his eyes.
Yeah,
and to a degree, it definitely worked.
He should have just went for it.
Like regardless,
I mean, all the shit he ended up going through anyway.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, he does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they fuck quite a bit at one scene.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Yeah, so he gets it.
He tells Waller he didn't.
Yeah, he tells Waller he didn't, and she doesn't believe him.
I mean, he did put her off for a little bit,
Yeah, that's true. I think that most people probably wouldn't for that long.
No.
So
Waller's got people everywhere.
Yeah.
Waller got the whole thing on tape.
So as the crew's coming back, particularly the bride, she is then introduced to her new squad mates, and this is when we see a new and improved GI Robot.
Yes, and we got King Shark.
And King Shark.
Watching her get incredibly frustrated with King Shark is going to be amazing.
Oh my gosh. That's going to be... Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's going to be great. Weasel is also returning as well. And was Dr. Phosphorus in that scene?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and also the winged creature that they may have killed her friend earlier in the show. They were like bullying Nina.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that character is, but...
Yeah, I forget. I'm sure it's another vague 70s character.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, Creature Commando Season 2 has already been greenlit. So it is coming out. I imagine... I mean, it was greenlit at like the premiere of Season 1.
Right.
So I imagine that James... I mean, well... I'm sure that I know he's not a very busy person right now, but
yeah,
you know, if I had to guess, what would you say? 2027, 2028, maybe.
I think it all boils down to Superman, right? Like, I think if Superman does really well, like I'm gonna say now, Superman. I think they're saying that it's gonna be around a $200 million budget. If Superman makes 600 mil or more, I think Warner Brothers is going to greenlight whatever James Gunn wants for a while. Probably the whole phase. Mm-hmm. You know? All right, cool. Go ahead and make all this.
Yeah.
It's interesting that he started with Creature Commandos.
It is.
Do you think there was a particular reason that they wanted to start with this?
I have a feeling there's something that he introduced in this that's going to be the connective tissue that maybe in the beginning is going to tie everything together. Like, I can see maybe different members of the Creature Commandos being more suited to appear in various projects. Like, Rick Flag being in Superman, I think to a degree that makes sense. I can see like The Bride maybe being in like the Swamp Thing project they're working on, you know.
David Harbour, low CGI like prosthetics, Frankenstein.
Like, man, you are way smaller in live action than you are in. He's like the size of a fucking Buick in in Creature Commandos.
It would be awesome to see him cameo in Superman or whatever, though. Just have Superman very quickly just fuck him up.
Right. Yeah, so that'd be my only guess, though. I would just think that they're the connective tissue. Maybe Cersei is going to show up in some place.
Rick Flag Sr. could be like the quasi Coulson.
He could be.
You know,
I can see that. Yeah, he could just go in and make the house calls that Amanda doesn't feel like doing. You know?
Yeah,
basically.
Or I could actually see him not even working for her anymore.
That too.
Based on everything that happened, maybe he gets recruited by Maxwell Lord.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
Yeah, maybe he's on this new Proto Justice League thing.
Yeah, I can also see him being in Peacemaker season 2.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I need Frank Grillo meeting Batman, being like, "So what's your superpower? You're not just some guy in a suit, are you?"
If I were Batman, I would say, no, I'm also the man who could beat Clayface.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. How'd that go for you, bitch?
Yeah. What's your record against Clayface, motherfucker?
Oh, shit. Any final thoughts on Creature Commandos? Give your final thoughts on score?
Okay. Yeah, we'll score this bitch. I think this is a good start for the DCU. Like, obviously, it shows a great care for these characters. Yeah, I done did it. I warned you at the beginning of the night.
You did. You're lucky it's been a while since I pressed these buttons. We'll go with that.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I insisted that button be added for years.
He did.
So,
and unfortunately, we have to pay Kevin Spacey every time we hit that button.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, shit, we got to take it off of there then. We don't want our money going to him. Maybe he can be in whatever the next Neil Gaiman project is.
Oh. God damn.
Yeah, so I think this was a good place for them to start. Obviously, they're going to make Superman not having required you to see this at all, but obviously, if you have seen this, there's going to be some Easter eggs and stuff that you'll get. I think this was super well done. I think it was James Gunn once again showing that he can take a character that nobody gives a single shit about and make you give a shit about them. If he can translate that to Lois Lane, Superman, like people that, like characters that people already know and love, David Zaslav is about to be a very, very wealthier man.
Yeah.
I think James Gunn will do great things because, I never heard of of Nina's character before. Mm-hmm. And by the time like 28-minute episodes in, I'm like, oh no, like I don't want them to die. I'm actually like tore up about the shit. It's masterfully done. I think the casting is fantastic. So many of these people I would love to see in live action. David Harbour as Frankenstein, number one. I feel like Dr. Phosphorus would be hard to do in live action and hard to explain in live action. So I think they'll keep him more on the animated stuff. But yeah man, I'm going to give this, it was just well done. It's well done. I'm going to score it in a vacuum, right? I'm going to actually give this a 9.0 out of 10.
Yeah. I think that you and I are right there in the same ballpark. When I first watched this show, I really didn't know what to expect from it. And it ended up giving me something that was just very enjoyable, refreshing, and yes, it is another team-up show, and we've seen those plenty of times, and we've seen the oddball team-ups before as well. It is the James Gunn special, but it doesn't mean that it's not good. It is still very, very good, very well done, and thought out and put together. I really enjoyed just the action, like you mentioned earlier. I enjoyed the fact that in these 28-minute episodes, you get to learn more about these characters, and then you get to really care for them. And then when you see them go, it's like, oh man, that really sucks. Like when I thought that G.I. Robot was like dead and gone for good, I was very distraught. And then again with Nina at the end, and then you realize, man, I really don't want to see any of these characters die, and that's the mark of a good character.
Right.
And the fact that you can develop them in that amount of time really speaks a lot about his storytelling techniques and his pacing. I also really dig the action in this and the animation. I think that it just flows very well. I had a really good time with this. I thought that the jokes for me landed. I thought that the show it didn't use raunchiness or like the super hard R-rated stuff as like a crutch. It was very the way it handled like the mature content was very smooth, and it was just something to enhance the viewing experience, not to take away from it or to hide anything else. And it was just a very clever story overall, man. I really dug it. If I had to step outside of the vacuum, I would say I do wish that they had done something more overt to show us like a bigger glimpse of this new universe.
Right.
But I can also understand the reservation being to hold that back until Superman.
Yeah.
So with that being said, the score I also had in my mind was a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I kept thinking about it, man. I was like 8.75, maybe 8.8. Then I was like, no, all of my complaints are like nitpicks, like I don't have really any major anything. So yeah, man, I thought this was tremendously done. The thing is, like, there's a couple different things that you can do, right? So obviously, when it comes to these comic book properties and comic book universes, the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme, the very top is you want a lot of people to go watch it and pay to go see it. And you want the majority of those people to like it. I say majority, you're never going to get everybody to like it.
Right.
There are people that don't like fucking Infinity War. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know any of them. I don't associate with them. But they're out there, right? It doesn't have a full range of perfect 10 reviews. Sanderson did a thing not too long ago that he talked about at Dragonsteel, where he was like, I'm going to go see, I'm going to go try to find the worst critics out there. So he like went after to try to find somebody that gave like Return of the King a bad score,
Yeah.
just like this masterfully made movie, and there were people out there, but I digress. So yeah, obviously you want a lot of people to go watch it, buy it, whatever, and enjoy it. And they'll, from there you got your word of mouth and you've got momentum going into the next property in your universe. Then in the middle, you have, actually, I'll skip that for now. At the bottom, you have people go see it, like the actual hardcore fans that, like ourselves, and they hate it, right? And the casuals, they either don't go see it or they do go see it, and it just reaffirms what they were worried about, that is trash. Talking to you, Aquaman 2 and The Flash. But in the middle, you kind of have this scenario where, okay, maybe this is not the most popular product ever, right? Like, there's going to be a lot of people that haven't seen this. But the people that do watch it like it. It's quality. And that's the main thing that, like, the DCU can avoid some of the shit that Marvel has done, is that you every single thing that you put out has got to be done with care, and it's got to be quality. Because, I mean, we've talked about this at length, but like, okay, if you guys are putting out straight bangers, maybe a Ant-Man 3 doesn't deter people from your whole wider universe. But if somebody goes to the movie theater and watches Ant-Man 3 and they're like, hey, I just really ain't feeling this MCU anymore. And then the next thing that they turn on their TV is fucking She-Hulk, and they're like, oh, I'll give this shot. Oh, man, this is awful. Like, how many chances do you think a casual fan is going to give you before they tune you out? And then now you have to fucking dig up Hugh Jackman's corpse in order to get them to come back in. That's just an arbitrary example. I didn't pull that from any specific anything,
Junior's waving his hand like he has a statement.
Hold on. What? No, we're not going to do that. Bad Junior. Yeah, just focus on your awards that you got.
He has ideas every once in a while. None of them are ever good, though.
Yeah, he does, but he said some words just now he's not allowed to say. So
he does that too. Yeah.
So something about it had to be done. but yeah, I mean, you don't want to end up in a situation like that, and the DCEU suffered from that greatly. I mean,
and also from fast tracking.
Yeah, from trying to compete with Marvel, from rushing their Batman vs Superman movie, rushing Justice League. All of that was awful. But I mean, at the end of the day, though, there's no DCEU movie that I think is well liked. You know what I mean? Like, overall, I mean, probably the closest one to a general consensus of people liking it is probably Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Man, I would say Wonder Woman or Snyder Cut.
I don't think most people have seen the Snyder Cut, though. Like,
well, I was thinking like other people who have seen it.
Oh, yes.
The consensus is that they like it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But if not that, then you're probably Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
For like general consensus.
And that's bad.
Yeah.
When you got like maybe 10% of your shit, like, people tend to like it.
Oh no, you know what? I mean, it was my cup of tea, but Aquaman won. People, the casual audience,
That's true.
Yeah. They like that one.
That's true.
Yeah.
It wasn't awful.
Yeah, no, I almost drowned in the review.
Yeah, you did. You did. But, the DCEU, man, it suffered from lack of quality control, It was way out there.
Yeah, I mean, whenever they do the documentary on on the downfall of the DCEU, which we'll be on that one too.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot to discuss as to what led to the downfall of that. I mean, there's so much. There is lack of concepts. There is fast tracking. There is lack of management and mismanagement. And I mean, just all over the place, there were opportunities to fuck up, and then they made those fuck ups.
I will say this, and I know you're a big Snyder fan, and you know that I am not so much in most cases. Namely his DC stuff, actually. I tend to like most of his other works, except for Sucker Punch.
Well, yeah,
Nobody fucking likes Sucker Punch. I guess people who do acid a lot, probably. Or if you do mushrooms. If you took some mushrooms, that's probably a great movie to watch.
Maybe, or it's terrifying.
That's true, yeah. But I think there's been a lot of toxicity from the Snyder fans in regards to David Cornsweet's Superman. And don't get me wrong, I've made the jokes too, he looks we got Henry Cavill at home. Obviously we all love Henry Cavill. I don't know enough about this guy to love him or hate him yet. I'm going to give him a chance, and that's what I would encourage everybody to do. But I think there is a lot of toxicity from the Snyder fans about his universe or whatever. And it's just you just got to let that shit go. It's not coming back. Yeah. They're not going to sell the rights to Netflix or anything like that. It's done. It's over with. Zack Snyder himself, to his credit, has come out and said, hey, look, I fucking love this trailer. You guys should give it a shot. I think it's gonna be really good. Yeah. So,
and he also said he was done when he was done when WB fucked him over. Even if they wanted him to come back, he wouldn't.
Right. And I mean, on this same note though, we can't act like studio interference was the only thing. No. Zack Snyder did in fact fuck up several things about the DCEU. Not as badly as he would have without Warner Brothers. I mean, obviously. But I mean, he does share a good bit of the blame for the DCEU's downfall. We're never going to know exactly where the line is, but does that really matter? At the end of the day, a bunch of people sat down in a room and just made a bunch of fucking decisions, and they did it a bunch of times. Yeah. And most of those decisions did not turn out great.
Yeah. And I do have to say this, just in his defense, and that is, Zach did have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
He did. He had a plan.
Yeah, he had a plan. Now, as to people's enjoyment of that plan, that's gonna vary.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, I do know that the people who were his bosses did not have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And no. Those things changed all throughout, and so it's just in terms of the blame, who the blame goes to, there's enough of that to go around at the DCEU.
The only thing we know 100% for certain is fuck Joss Whedon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Apparently Hollywood is in agreement with that. I haven't seen him do anything really since then.
When it came out that he told Gal Gadot to just read her lines and look pretty, that was it.
Wow, yeah. That was crazy.
I was like, And when I read that, I was like, well, maybe he can just, that's an awful thing to say, but he probably could just, maybe that'll come off as a kind of a, just, maybe, he just doesn't hate women or anything. Maybe it's just a thing where the two of them don't get along. I was like, as long as the Buffy cast doesn't come out and be like, yeah, he was abusive as shit the whole time, he'll be fine. And within a week, the Buffy cast was like, oh, yeah, he was terrible to us. I was like, oh, shit, you're done.
Yep.
And then you never seen him again.
Nope. Out of here.
Yeah, yeah.
Packed him up.
Because, that fan base is, where his fan base came from.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, that was it.
Man. Well, the next thing that we got to finish watching and reviewing is What If Season 3.
I'm not looking forward to that at all. I haven't watched any of it.
You know, had I known, because I haven't finished What If season 3 yet, but like just looking at like the common consensus, had I known, then I would have switched the order of operations and maybe had us watch What If first,
so that Creature Commandos could lift us out of the pit of despair. Yeah, I'll be honest though, if my options are that or Skeleton Crew, I think I'll watch What If. I'll take my chances with Marvel. Because at least I know that at some point during What If Season 3, Storm is going to hit a motherfucker with Mjolnir.
That's true.
I don't think anything that cool is going to happen in Skeleton Crew. I'm probably just going to skip that. So.
Yeah.
Hey, well, here's the thing is, when we get done with What If, we should do Vox Machina. Because I know that's good. I already seen that shit.
Okay, yeah.
So.
You know, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so we'll do that. And then we also still got the Button and Doomsday Clock.
Still got the Button and Doomsday Clock.
Although I really should read Doomsday Clock. That would help tremendously.
That would help some.
Yeah. I mean, I could bullshit my way through it, but...
I would love to hear you bullshit your way through Doomsday Clock.
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, man, so the scene where, like, Batman and Owlman do the Spider-Man pose and point at each other was... I mean... It's just crazy that they were able to get that in there, you know.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah.
Yep. And the scene where like Mr. Freeze shows up and where he like fights the comedian's like zombie corpse.
Oh yeah! Wow. Yeah. That's right. Because he unthaws the corpse and then has to fight him.
Right. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. He's like, oh, I thought you were Steve Rogers, and then. And then they have like an epic fight through the morgue or wherever. And
then they're both like, wait, who's Steve Rogers? And then,
yeah.
It was great shit. Yeah, guys. So be sure to check out our review of all of that, including Doomsday Clock, which will be just like that.
Yeah. And as he's thawing him out, of course, you know, he's like, oh, I had to get you out of there. It looked like you were frozen in time.
All right, guys. So thank you guys for listening in, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this review of Creature Commandos. I had a blast here. That's going to be all for this one. We'll see you guys again, though, very soon. It's clear that we need to get the fuck out of here. So until next time, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
And I'm Superhero Homie Caleb.